The weekend arrived quietly. Too quietly. Claire had stopped arguing. Evan had stopped asking questions. On the surface, the house felt almost normal again. Meals were shared. Doors weren't slammed. Conversations stayed shallow. But tension doesn't disappear. It changes shape. Sunday afternoon. I was in the living room sorting through old photo albums when Claire walked in holding a folder. "I've been thinking," she said carefully. I didn't look up right away. "That can be useful," I replied. She ignored the comment and sat across from me. "We may have approached this the wrong way." That was new. I closed the album gently. "In what sense?" I asked. "In the sense that we made you feel unwanted." "You didn't make me feel unwanted," I said calmly. "You told me to leave." She inhaled slowly. "We were emotional. You were strategic," I corrected. Her jaw tightened, but she stayed seated. "What if," she continued, "we worked out something more structured?" I waited. "A written agreement," she said. "Clear expectations, financial transparency, long-term planning." There it was again. Control. Wrapped in paperwork. "I already have a written agreement," I said. "It's called a trust." "Yes, but that's one-sided," she replied quickly. "It doesn't account for shared living." "Shared living requires shared respect," I answered. Evan walked in mid-conversation and immediately sensed the temperature shift. "What's going on?" he asked. "We're discussing clarity," Claire said. I looked at my son. "Your wife would like to renegotiate the structure of my protection." He frowned slightly. "Renegotiate how?" Claire leaned forward. "If your mom plans to stay indefinitely, we should have formal agreements about expenses, property use, future transitions." "Future transitions?" I repeated. "Well, eventually," she said carefully. "Yes," I said softly. "Eventually." I let the word settle. Evan rubbed his forehead. "Claire, maybe we should just slow down." "We are slowing down," she insisted. "I'm trying to be reasonable." Reasonable. It's remarkable how often that word is used to soften pressure. I stood and walked toward the kitchen. They followed. I poured myself a glass of water before speaking again. "You both assumed I would leave," I said evenly. "You calculated timelines. You discussed renovations. You set a deadline." Claire opened her mouth to respond. I raised a hand gently, not aggressively. "Just enough. And now you're recalculating." Silence. "I'm not negotiating my right to exist in my own home," I continued. "No one said that," Claire replied quickly. "You implied it," I said. Evan looked exhausted. "Mom," he said quietly, "what do you want?" The question hung between us. It wasn't hostile. It was confused. I said slowly, "to live here without being treated as temporary." Claire crossed her arms. "No one is treating you as temporary." "You opened my mail," I said calmly. "You contacted my bank. You researched amendments." Her face flushed slightly. "I was being proactive." "Without consent," I replied. The kitchen clock ticked loudly in the silence that followed. Evan finally spoke again. "This isn't sustainable." "No," I agreed. "It isn't." Claire looked at him sharply. "What does that mean?" "It means," he said carefully, "we shouldn't have pushed her." The words were small. But they were the first shift that mattered. Claire stared at him. "So now I'm the villain?" "No," I said evenly. "You're the variable." She laughed softly. "That's dramatic." "I haven't raised my voice once," I replied. Evan exhaled. "Maybe we should take some space," he said. "Space?" Claire repeated. "For a while," he clarified. "Just until things settle." She stared at him as if he had betrayed her. "This is our house too," she said. "No," I answered gently. "It isn't." That ended the conversation. Claire left the kitchen abruptly and went upstairs. A door closed firmly, not slammed, but deliberate. Evan remained standing there. "I didn't realize how fast it escalated," he said. "Escalation happens when someone pushes against something solid," I replied. "And you're solid now?" he asked quietly. "I always was," I said. He nodded slowly. "I just didn't see it." That night, the house felt different again. Not smaller. Balanced. Claire barely spoke during dinner. Evan avoided conflict. And I noticed something important. They were no longer planning my departure. They were considering theirs. Late that evening, I heard another low conversation behind their bedroom door. Not whispers this time. Debate. The kind that reveals fractures. I didn't strain to hear details. I didn't need to. Protection doesn't require aggression. It requires patience. Harold understood that. Now, so did I. Because once someone realizes they can't remove you, they start deciding whether they can remain.